Hi everybody, I'm Alex. I'm here giving you some cleaning motivation. I'll be tidying my house, so feel free to join me doing some of your own chores, or just if you enjoy watching speed cleanings like I do, enjoy this one. And surprise, at the end, it's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be a little bit better. Much like many people who I assume gravitate towards cleaning content, it is most likely because there is some kind of a challenge when it comes to keeping your own space organized or tidy or under control in some way. So this video is not going to be perfect. The cleaning of my own home is not going to be perfect, but I am here to say that doing something is better than doing nothing. And for people such as myself who have some trouble staying on task and have this project mentality where I need to clean everything from top to bottom because everything is disgusting, and I just need to ignore everybody for 3 days straight and just focus on this and then watch it collapse into an absolute mess. I'm trying for myself to develop some better habits. And so in this video, I'm doing 10 minutes per room. As you might know from other videos, I live in New York City in an apartment which is called a railroad style, which means that each room is kind of connected to the next one in a long line. And the cost of living in New York City kind of prohibits a lot of people from having things that are maybe what they want. So there's usually, I find with most people I know, there's some kind of a compromise with the space they live in. It could be a good location, but they don't like the layout so much, or it could be a great layout, but the location isn't the best, or a combination of factors where it's very difficult to get absolutely everything you want in an apartment for most people, given that there's just so much demand for housing, and especially affordable housing. When a space like this gets cluttered, it's very noticeable, very visible. There's not very many options for storage. Basements, attics, garages are pretty much non-existent in the city for most people. This might sound hilarious, but I did go through a minimalist kick around the time that my youngest was like a year and a half. I just noticed that everything was just always chaos, and there was a huge inability to maintain pickup. And I'm pretty sure I had some sort of like postpartum something happening there. So it was just on top of naturally being difficult for me to keep up with household chores with a child who was at that point a toddler, so very interactive in the space. I looked around and I thought all of these things end up on the all over the floor every single day, which was like shape sorters, puzzles. So he would just kind of take out a bin or a box and dump stuff out, and it's not like he sat down to do a puzzle. That didn't happen ever. And I was under this impression that kids needed all of these things for their stimulation and for brain development, and they'll even kind of try to scare you with marketing of some like toy crate products that are a subscription where they kind of try to tell you like, oh, your baby isn't going to develop right if you're not showing them these black and red and white cards, because when they're an infant they really gravitate towards red, and this is like the perfect opportunity. And I'm not saying I had all those things, but I did have a lot of the things that I always kind of saw that kids needed or they had to have, or that they should be like stacking the stacking toys, and they should be doing the shape sorter toys. And then I just realized that at the end of the day, I'm the only one who does the puzzles and the shape sorter when I'm trying to clean it up. And I just got rid of so much stuff from clothing to toys to knickknacks, books, and things got a lot easier. And I know when you look around at these videos, I'm not the pinnacle of minimalism. However, with just 10 minutes per space, it is possible to get it to a place where you can have people over, where you wouldn't be horrendously embarrassed. So it has taken me a few days to make this voiceover just because I don't have a large chunk of time altogether. And I realized I don't really like the way that sounded about being embarrassed to have people over. I don't think that that's even the biggest reason why a space should be presentable. I believe that it's more about your own ability to function and feel relaxed in the space and less about what other people think about you via the like how your space looks. But there is something that translates from like your mental space and your physical space. There is some kind of connection there. So I think it's reasonable to say that you would not, just like you wouldn't spew all the emotional stuff all over a person you're not comfortable with. Obviously, you would feel the same way about them seeing how you live if how you live is not congruent with what you would hope for yourself. So I do want to kind of correct that a little bit and say that there are so many reasons to want to clean up your space, and having people over is probably pretty far down there on the line of those reasons. A reason could be wanting to have family dinner at the table or game night in the living room or doing like crafts with kids on a surface that isn't constantly like cluttered with mail and paperwork and whatever gets set down there. And I've had to listen to like years and years of people talking about their own struggles in their home for it to, well, first of all, to feel less lonely in the overwhelm and to hear things from people who also struggle, not somebody who says, this has never been a problem for me and I'm going to tell you how to do it. Because at the end of the day, it's really simple. You just do the work, whatever it is, be it housework or something else. But we know, and this is why this is not a cleaning channel, we know that it's not that easy, that there's something going on in the background which is making it difficult, nearly impossible, completely impossible to actually do the things that we know we should or need to or supposed to be doing. All right, well, maybe that's enough philosophy for today. Let's pivot to this rug. This is an IKEA rug. I think it's our third or fourth rug. One of them got like a heat transfer transferred onto it when somebody was doing that on the floor. And it got like singed as well as a print on it or something like that. The second rug, my son, you can hear the story in another video where I wrestle the couch and talk about it, where I have to dismantle the entire living room to put a new rug in because the previous rug was damaged with a quart of paint that my son basically just threw at it. And so this is rug number 3 or 4. I did actually like rescue a quadruple sheepskin from a dumpster, and I had that there for a while too. So maybe this is rug number 4. And so I bring that up to say I'm not just constantly throwing away rugs, so I am also rescuing rugs too. And this particular one has a very high pile. You can see it when I start to vacuum. I have to keep stopping because the vacuum thinks that it's clogged because the hairs on this rug or the threads are so long. But it still gets the job done. It will still vacuum. So this rug was from IKEA. It was a return in their dent and scratch section, which is amazing. We found so many good things there. I suggest if you shop at IKEA, always check the dent and scratch area first because we found the things that we were going to buy on the main show floor, and we found the same exact item downstairs in their like return area that was, like 20% off or 50% off. So this is where the rug comes from, and I'm pretty sure that it got returned because most vacuum cleaners would not be able to handle it. And even this one does, but I know that there are so many things that are in there trapped forever. Small and large dirt particles alike are embedded inside of that rug, never to be seen. And I know it's kind of gross. And the reason I know this is because with the previous rug that was kind of low pile, um, I had to vacuum it like every other day. And this one I got it and I didn't vacuum it for maybe a month or two because it just the dirt just goes inside. It like gets absorbed in the long fibers. And then I just said, okay, like even if it doesn't look dirty, I have to keep cleaning it regularly. And the amount of dirt that comes out of it is amazing, like in the canister of the vacuum. So that's the Cookie Monster rug. I'm quickly going to show some love to the hallway, take it out with the edit since you can't see it anyway. Here I'm dealing with the new to us washer dryer combo, and there's this lint compartment which needs to be cleaned out, and before you do that you have to drain out the water. So that's what I'm doing here. This machine setup has been so amazing to not have to drag a week's worth of 4 people's laundry to the laundromat. So I've been doing laundry at home from start to finish. I do sometimes have to be careful and pull stuff out of the dryer because it sets in some wrinkles, but I'm really excited about having a washer dryer combo inside. I know when I lived in Ukraine back in like the 2010s, I had a washer dryer combo, and the drying part of it was so terrible. It would just kind of bake the clothes. But this one seems to be okay, except for the wrinkling, which I found ways around that. I will spray stuff down with some water once it comes out and hang it up to dry, or I'll pull stuff out before it dries and then hang it. But in general, it has been amazing to be able to do laundry in the house from start to finish. So I know I said that I'm doing 10 minutes per room. I believe that here I did more on the kitchen because it needs it. It really does. And as you see later, I wasn't even done with it. But the benefit of doing timing yourself or giving yourself a limit of 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is that with the progress you would have made in that time, it's really easy to see all the other things that need to be done, as well as to see how much you've already done, how much of an impact that's made. And then you kind of have the natural motivation to keep going if your schedule allows for it that day. So it's kind of a good trick. Even if you only do the time that you set out for yourself, it's still very good. You saw maybe how here I did not pick up the dirt pile. I swept up all the dirt, and the dirt pile is just sitting there, and it's sitting there. And that's how I do. I squirrel around, jump from task to task. I feel like this draining, sinking feeling when um I'm about to do something I don't want to do, and that's something I'm been dealing with my whole life is just trying to um, work around the specific kind of challenge I have. Oh, am I going to pick up that dirt? Nope, not yet. So, yeah, and then because I work like this where I just like left that pile, and then, if somebody else is home, there's a good chance that somebody will walk through there and track that all around, or I will do that. And why, oh, why do I do that? I don't know. However, it does get picked up eventually, and it's okay. It does not have to be perfect. The fact that you do stupid things, look, there you go. I just stepped in it and I just dragged the whole thing along. So, is this a fail? Yes. However, there's another fail that's happening right now, which is that I am stacking all of these pots that are dirty, and I'm going to leave them there for like a couple more days. And that's going to smell really bad. But the fact that I'm doing something right now and spending 10 minutes per space is a lot better. Even if I kicked the dirt pile over, even if I left a stinky mess for the next day to deal with, I am telling you that it is so much better and more rewarding, and you feel better about yourself and your self esteem if you at least do it somehow and imperfect. I do love watching these because I get to see the little quirks and where I'm just incapable of making like the right decision in the right time frame sometimes, but how in the end that's all right. And I hope you feel like that's all right too when you work on your own stuff and your own house. I hope that the random noises in the background here were not too distracting. And yeah, it just goes to show, don't let the perfect be the enemy of good enough. And I'm about to wrap it up here, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.